John and Julianne Dimitrions' high life of luxury in Honolulu has suddenly become a paradise lost.
They were basically sleeping on air mattresses in their parents' houses.
Their conviction on mail fraud and money laundering charges for ripping off distressed homeowners has toppled their crooked mortgage company and taken the Dimitrions from riches to rags almost overnight.
They had nothing left.
And a packed federal courthouse in Honolulu is in for a big surprise at their sentencing.
The FBI agents are there, the prosecutors there, the judges there, the defense attorneys there. Everybody was there except for John and Julianne Dimitrion.
Didn't seem to be in court. I mean, I looked all over the courtroom. In fact, I think I called his name out a couple of times. Now, he wasn't there. John and his wife were no-shows, and I had no explanation.
The Dimitrions had surrendered their passports, and nobody expected them to bolt.
The idea of them leaving and taking off and becoming fugitives was unthinkable.
But fugitives they have become.
So the judge issues a bench warrant and the fugitive hunt begins. By the time we actually got to them, they had spent through all the money. They were broke.
Agent Simon is confident he will soon capture them close to home.
These are people who didn't have money and didn't have passports to really go anywhere else.
Agent Simon scours Honolulu and the island of Oahu looking for the couple, distributing wanted posters everywhere he goes.
And obviously, if you see them, you just give me a call.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
He remains convinced the Dimitrions are still on the island. He just can't find them.
Now, this is Oahu. It's an island. You can only drive so far on it. So once we learned that they had not gotten on a plane, by checking the flight manifest for all the flights leaving Oahu recently, we had a real mystery on our hands. Where the heck were the Dimitrions?
Agent Simon enlists the help of the media.
We were getting on local television here and getting their faces out there saying, hey, does anyone know where the Dimitrions are? And every single one of those steps was coming up empty.
Some of his fellow FBI agents think the Dimitrions may have committed suicide.
I never really bought it because the Dimitrions were nothing if they're not narcissists. These people were so in love with each other and they felt that they were ordained by God to be rich and famous in the community. People like that generally don't kill themselves. Hi, Mrs. Smith. My name's Tom Simon. I'm an FBI special agent in Honolulu, Hawaii. How are you today?
As news of the Dimitrions going on the lam spreads, Agent Simon starts getting tips they may have been sighted on the mainland.
Where do you think you saw the Dimitrions? Okay, you believe it was at the Target in Niles, Illinois?
None of the tips from the mainland pan out until Agent Simon gets an unexpected lead from an FBI informant that is almost too wild to believe.
She contacted the FBI to tell us their story, and it was an amazing story, and it was nothing we saw coming.
The informant says the Dimitrions have joined an anti-government group called Sovereign Citizens, which counted among its members Terry Nichols, Timothy McVeigh's co-conspirator in the Oklahoma City bombing. Other Sovereign Citizen members also shot dead 2 Arkansas cops during a traffic stop.
They don't believe that the laws of the U.S. apply to them, and they find themselves getting involved in all sorts of different financial frauds.
And John Dimitrion manages to con them too,
convincing them that when they overthrow the U.S. government, that he would be a suitable Secretary of Treasury for this new Republic of the United States of America that they would form, to such an extent that they actually chartered a plane to get them away from Hawaii in a pretty elaborate scheme.
John poses as a medical patient being taken to the mainland, and Julianne disguises herself as his nurse.
His wife was wearing a rented nurse's outfit at an area where private jets come and go, and he was lying on a gurney, you know, with an IV in his arm.
The Dimitrions were flown to Utah, then driven to a secret hideout in Alabama, but they haven't been seen or heard from since, and they've now been on the lam for 7 years.
It's clear to us that they've since moved on. We just don't know where.
But Agent Simon is certain of one thing.
Wherever they are, I know in my heart that they're stealing from people.
And he believes the Dimitrions will eventually trip themselves up.
The idea that somehow the FBI is going to get tired of this manhunt and go away is preposterous. We're the FBI. That's not what we do.
Since Crime Watch Daily first reported this story, the FBI says it's been flooded with sightings from around the world. Sightings of the Dimitrions in Florida, San Francisco, Oregon, even as far away as the Philippines. So far, these tips have not panned out, but the FBI says it's confident they will one day bring this couple to justice.
And they're hoping a $10,000 reward helps as well. If you have any information on the whereabouts of the Dimitrions, you're asked to call your local FBI office. I'm Chris Hansen. If you like this story, make sure you tune in every day to Crime Watch Daily. You can find where the show airs in your city at crimewatchdaily.com. Watch it live or record it on your DVR and watch it at night. And to all those criminals out there, remember, we are watching.